is today's hot mess. All right, and it's going to be quite the hot mess. Sorry about the mess. I've been so obsessed with trashy visual novels that I finally made one real. Today I'm playing my very first visual novel with my team. I am playing the actual game, and I am going to tell you all the juicy details from behind the scenes. Everything that was in my head while I was writing it. All the things that went into assembling my team, that went into creating a Yandere visual novel. Azure X Twilight says, it's not trashy. It's okay. It's a little bit trashy. That's part of the fun, okay? I'm gonna tell you all the things, okay? What it was like putting together my very first visual novel with a small team in less than 10 days for the O2A2 Visual Novel Jam. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what that O2A2 Jam is in a second. All right, and finally I wanted to, before we start this actual game, thank you to every single YouTuber and Twitch streamer who has played Sorry About the Mess. I could cry how exciting it has been to watch. I have seen, I think, 7 or 8, maybe about 8 different playthroughs of Sorry About the Mess on YouTube, and I love every single one of them. I've watched every single one of them all the way through, some of them multiple times, and I try to comment on all of your videos as well. Thank you, everyone. And I just can't say enough how much it means to a small first-time dev to see the welcoming in the community for this crazy Yandere game, like this game. Sorry About the Mess. It's a real hot mess. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank the jam enough. It was part of the O2A2 jam. And at the last time I checked, Sorry About the Mess, it was one of within the top 10 most popular games in the jam. And I can't believe that y'all want to play that game because it's so crazy. I mean, I enjoy it. I like it, you know, but I'm biased, okay? I'm biased. But I just want to thank all of the content creators and all of the other devs and the people who do this professionally, who've given me advice, who've given me encouragement, people like Azure X Twilight, you know. I got a big soft spot in my heart for y'all, you know. I could cry. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, now before everybody decides, look, man, this is getting sappy, I'm about to head on. I'm dropping out. We're done. No more, Rue. Get to the game. Okay, we're going to do that, okay? We're going to get to the game. All right. Yep. Yes, we will. Aha. Look at this. This is so funny. This is going to be like the inception of all inceptions of things. This is going to be wild. Because I made this game and I'm playing my own game and I voice acted in my own game. So this is going to be interesting. Yes, it is. Also, hi, Artisan. I think I saw you in there. Okay, y'all, listen. Okay, Artisan is the programmer for this game. And the artist who made this wonderful hot mess, this sprite right here, this is Mara. She goes by Rosia on X, and she did a fantastic job. Artisan did a fantastic job. And then my role was, I wrote this, and I was like our little team creative director, and I voice acted Mara. Sorry About the Mess was made for the One of Any Acid O2A2 Visual Novel Jam 2026. It is a micro visual novel game jam with a strict acid limitations and a 1,000 word limit. And there are multiple endings to this game. That was one of the things I really wanted to make sure was incorporated, because one of my favorite things about visual novels and what differentiates them the kind of game that I wanted to have from like a kinetic novel is that there's choices that you can make that can lead to a different ending. And so there's actually 4 endings. Justana has been scrolling through the jam submissions. There's 182 games that were submitted and are on the page. I think 181 actually are on there. And so that's pretty amazing. And I've played quite a bit of them. Been playing them on my own. I've streamed a few of them. And I figured if I feel like it at the end of today, I totally want to stream a couple more of them that I've played recently that I'm like, y'all have to see this. It's too good. There's one in particular I want to show you tonight. Depending on how long the stream goes. I imagine that there'll be some time later at the end, so there'll probably be some more of these games coming for sure. And for now, you know, this is going to be a different type of a stream than what I usually do because honestly, I'm hanging out with y'all. We're going to be chit-chatting. We're going to be talking and reacting, and it's kind of chill, you know. It's going to be a chill hangout and talk type of a stream. And so be prepared for lots of interruptions as any random thought pops into my head about my game when I was making it. Now, I was the publisher, so it is under my name, Jitterrue, on itch, because I was the one that already had an itch.io account out of the 3 of us. And so, you know, as the leader of the project, that's why I'm like attaching my name to it so much. But it was a group project, okay? It wasn't just me. It's 3 of us. 3! And all the credit, giving credit where credit is due. I'm really big on that. And I am just over the moon grateful for how this whole thing turned out and for both Artisan and Rosia for the great work that they did on this. So looking at this menu right here, I put together the little background here, and then I picked out a font and stuff like this to kind of, you know, we didn't have like UI design, okay? This is all like the default setting kind of look, you know, the basic font. I was like, what's more important to me is that the overall aesthetic looks good and appealing and makes you want to click on it, you know, makes you want to play it. And let me pull my face away so you can really see the whole thing. You see, look, there's a start button on the top. Yep, there's a start button. Yes, there is. Okay, I'm coming back now. Hi, I'm back. But it was really important to me to have something that was very accessible rather than particularly well designed. And what I mean by that is I still wanted it to be well designed, but it was more important to me to make sure that the text was easy to read, to make sure that things were easy to click on. That was more important to me than having extra design elements in the UI. And so that's why it kind of ended up. And then not only that is because the 3 of us playing, who created this game, not one single one of us ever created a visual novel before in the past. This was the first time for all of us. And so my guiding principle, my guiding light, and the thing I kept repeating over and over to the team was this: you know, we'll try what we can and do what we can that works. If we have wild ideas, let's give it a go. Let's try it. But in the end, if we can't figure out how to do something, or, you know, if we don't have a lot of time because we only have 10 days and none of us have ever done this before and we're learning while we're going, it's okay to be simple. Err to the simpler. You know, if we want a certain mechanic or a certain function that we were like, oh, it would be so cool if we could do this, but we just can't quite get it there, right? Or we don't have enough time to kind of work through it, or whatever it may be. We want a certain look, but we just can't quite get it there. My backdrop was just, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's go back to the thing that's simpler, that's easy, but still looks clean and still looks nice and still looks readable. And so that was the thought process behind that. And then within the limitations of the jam too. Again, O2A2 it stands for one of any asset. 2 O's, 2 A's, O2A2, and only 1,000 words. And so we could only have one sprite. We could only have one background. We could only have one voice actor. And there was like no budget. And so we just had to be creative, and we had to do the best that we could within the limitations of the jam and within the limitations that come when you're doing something like this for the very first time. Now, even though it was our first time creating a visual novel, for all of us, it was not our first time in doing our trade. Like Artisan has been programming lots of different things, computer engineered a lot of different things, and even programmed educational video games in the past. And Rosia is a very talented and amazing artist and has, quite a bit of experience commissioning art. And then I have a lot of experience with writing, and my day job is marketing. And I have experience managing a team, and a team of creatives. I have experience with, I write my own music and things like that. And so we already had the skills, and I really believed in the abilities of my team. And I was right. I was right. Also, speaking of subscribing, if you are one of the 80% of people who watch my videos but you're not subscribed, well, if you like this sort of thing, if you're having fun, if you enjoy visual novels, romance games, if you like, all of the things, then consider giving my channel a subscribe, and consider giving this link, this stream a like. Yep, because guess what, stunners? We're going to do a whole lot more of this. And your support really helps a small channel out. Yes. You know what? Listen, okay? I'm going to give another plug for this at the end. But I will be working on a new visual novel starting on September 1st. And the entire Jitterrue Stunner community is contributing to this project. That's right. It is a community-driven visual novel project. If you're interested in participating in that for Spooktober, then join the Jitterrue Stunners Discord community. Again, there's a link to the Discord in the description below, because that's how you can contribute. And there's instructions and all that kind of stuff. Okay? And I'm going to tell you more about it after we do Sorry About the Mess. All right, let me show you the credits, because we've been talking about who did this and who did what, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Milky put a tentacle there because Milky is one of the people who is responsible for the whole idea of our Spooktober, and I'll tell you about that at the end of the stream, like what the heck we're doing. I wrote this music. And the way that I did it, Azure X Twilight. Sad Doggo is ready with sad music. So I have a keyboard, a Yamaha keyboard, and I have GarageBand on my phone, and I literally plugged my phone into my keyboard and I played the piano, and it saved it as a digital file on my phone through GarageBand. I just exported it. I played it, and then I exported it, and then I sent it to Artisan so it could be included into the game, because he was the programmer. That's how he did it. So yeah, this is thank you. Here's I'll put dog cam away, but we can look at the credits. This is our team's very first visual novel. It's called Sorry About the Mess. I am the director, the writer, art by Rosia. The voice of Mara is me, and I wrote this song. It's called Eerie Dark. I couldn't come up with a better name at the time. It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. Artisan is the programmer, and this is a no AI game. Okay, we did not use any generative AI whatsoever. It is 100% human made. All right. Yes, and then so Artisan, he's got a brand called the Underground Nexus Technology by Cloud Underground. That's Artisans, and yeah, it was for the visual novel jam O2A2. Yeah, you like my music. See, I have so Sleepy. You told me you wanted to sing for the Spooktober. We're gonna talk about this more at the end, okay? But I have an idea, okay? Like I was thinking, like I was kind of thinking of I can't write the song until September starts, but I can. But my head was just thinking, okay? My head was thinking, and I was like, okay, we could get some cool, like, you know how Halloween songs oftentimes have that woo woo, you know, kind of stuff. You know, like voices, you know, coming at you, ghostly voices and stuff are in the background. You know what I'm talking about. You feel me? Harmonies, girl. Okay, we about to get together on the line online, and I'll be sending you melodies. I'm gonna have you sing into your microphone nice and clean to send it back to me, and then I might sing on top of it. Okay, I'm gonna sing on top of it. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot. Yeah, real dissonant. Ooh. Yeah, this song right here, if you listen to it, it has some dissonance in it too. A little bit of clashing, you hear that? Dun. There's dissonance in that. Okay? You're gonna sing for me. You're going to sing for me. It's just sound. Oh, you want Bo to howl? Okay, listen. If I howl enough, Bo will howl with me. Ooh. Ooh. Did you hear that? He did it a little bit. He did it a little bit. All right, so I recommend age 16 plus. I mean, or younger. It's not like there's nothing graphic. Oh, it's you. Come on in, Crumb. My voice fits her so well. That's what everybody says. You recognize Mara's voice as yours. Lol. I'm like, I'm gonna have to change my voice as Crumb. This is gonna get confusing. I am now gonna roll it back a little bit and we're gonna play this game. And I'll tell you all of my thoughts and secrets along the way. Like, for example, with the audio, if you go over here to the options. So one thing we wanted to do is have the music volume kind of locked in around here. And have these settings like text speed all the way up. You know, the way that it was intended to be kind of like this. But for some reason, every time we exported the file, you know, it kept automatically popping over to like up here to like 80 and 85%. And so we were running out of time with the game jam. We only had like a day or so left. And we were like, you know what? It's fine. It's a game jam. People can go into the options and they can adjust the music volume. It's fine. It's good enough. And so it was kind of one of those things in the future. We want to actually like be able to have the music volume and the voice volume and all that kind of stuff kind of locked in. So that way when people play the game and they get started for their first time, they don't have to really mess with the settings unless they're like particular. But another cool thing that we did is we wanted to be really accessible to people. And so we actually have an accessibility menu where you can adjust everything from the fonts, you can adjust lines, spacing, there's a self-voicing if you're hard of sight. So you can have it read everything to you. And there's keyboard commands for all of these things too. You can change the volume of things right here as well. And so it's highly customizable. And then of course there's defaults. So if you're like, man, whatever I did, I don't like it, I would just want to go back. It was really important to us that people could play this game and not have to worry about being able to read the text. So everything is very high contrast. That was another big thing. So I have some training in ADA compliance, which is American Disability Act, ADA compliance. So that way people who have poor eyesight, or like I have terrible eyesight, I have contacts in, but even then, like, you know, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, y'all. You really like the line spacing? It's actually something you need more people to try. Oh my gosh, I adjusted the line spacing to where it fit for me. So that, and I made sure that there's color contrast between backgrounds. Here's another thing that I hate, okay? This is one of my personal pet peeves for playing games, especially visual novels. Visual novels are all about reading. And so it's more important for the thing to be readable than it is to be fancy looking, okay? Legibility is important. I hate it when there's not enough color contrast, and I hate it when there's busy patterns behind the text, okay? Like, okay, listen, I love this game called Virsh Evermore, okay? The FD, I love the FD too. The FD, how dare they, had white text boxes with white text inside of a white text box. How dare you? Why? Why did you do that? I could barely read it. I was determined to read it, but it gave me a headache. Don't do that to us. Okay? If you have a white text box, your text is black. Done. If you have a black text box, your text is white. Okay? Okay? Yes, Sleepy Bug, give us big fonts, big chunky fonts. I remember you praising Low Effort Romance about the font size. Yes, Azure. Yes, because you had an accessibility option too. There was different options. Your fonts were nice and big, and you know, and I could make them bigger or smaller. I love that. So accessibility is really important to me, and my eyesight is not as good as it used to be, okay? If I can't see it, you should probably, like, I'm a good test. Like, I'll back up and I'll be like, can I see that? If the answer is no, then it needs to change. So that was something that was really important for me, an artisan, to put into this game, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. One thing that I'm going to do in the future that I didn't do this time, and the screen reader works, okay? The self-voicing screen reader, it works. It has that robotic AI voice, kind of. It's not it's a screen reader. It was before, like, AI was a thing. It's not an AI voice. But it's like the screen reader voice that's on everyone's machines. Anyway, there's a reason that all of us literally wear glasses. Exactly. Yeah, I have contacts on. Okay? I cannot see without my contacts. I know they do, Sleepy. It's so real. It's so real. But anyway, oh, there's my Ko-Fi on Twitch. If you want to send me money, that's how you do it. Or you can send me super chats and stuff, which I still need to, like, set up the rest of the way, but whatever. Anyways, y'all, here's from one dev to another dev, okay? Please, accessibility. You don't have to know ADA compliance exactly, but just here's some basics, okay? Make your text large. You have a text box, fill it up, okay? And if you can, make it adjustable. Don't put busy patterns behind text. Make sure that you have a good amount of contrast between the color of your text and the color of the background, and pick fonts that are easy to read. Simple fonts. If it's like cursive, don't do the cursive font, okay? Don't do it, okay? Make it easy to read. Don't make people have to have a headache. So anyways, that was really important to us. And then, as you can see, We did put a touch of stylistic choice. So there's like a little bit of a gradient. There's a tiny bit of transparency to this box, so you can still see through it a little bit. But I was really like, I want it to be very subtle, so that way the words are easy to read. This is at the perfect size for me. You can make it bigger if you want it. You can make it smaller if you want it. But so this is what I set it for myself, and I think this is easy to read. There's a little bit of an outline stroke on, if you see Mara, it's a lighter color of a red. It's like a pink. It stands out well enough against this dark background. It's easy to read. You're not going to battle with it. And the background is not showing through too much and competing with this. There's no weird little patterns. There's a slight gradient on here. So it looks nice. It looks good enough. Okay. It looks good and well enough. But it was more important for me to have something simple and easy to read than it would be to have like fancy stuff on here. Okay. And again, like I said, it's not that.
Oh, it's
Sure.
you. Come on in, Crumb.
Hey, Mara. Hi, girl. Yes, I will come in.
Sorry about the mess.
Did you hear that? That's the name of the game. Sorry about the mess. Yep, I did that. It's all right. I didn't call ahead. You enter Mara's cottage. The pleasant, familiar smell of freshly baked pastries and pies hits you immediately. Yes, pastries and pies. Mara pulls up a chair beside you and settles down. You're almost surprised at how messy and tired she looks. It's been at least a month since you last saw Mara. It was at her husband Colin's memorial service. She must miss him terribly. You don't blame her for holing up at home. All right, so I wanted to point something out here. So we say that Mara's husband, he has a memorial service. Now there is a difference between a funeral and a memorial. If anybody in the chat knows what that difference is, you get a cookie. I'll let you give a guess. I'll let you guess. What is the difference between a memorial and a funeral? Because that was an intentional word choice there. Also, Justana says, I've worn glasses since I was a kid. Yeah, me too. I think I was in third grade. Third or fourth grade, I started wearing glasses. And then my eyesight's just been a slow decline ever since then. I'll probably be deaf and blind one day. I'm ready for it. Hopefully not for a very long time, but I could see it happening. Okay, I'll tell you what the difference is. Okay, everyone's like, what's the difference, Rue? A funeral is for someone who has been confirmed they passed away. A memorial is for when there's no body or someone's missing. So you do not actually have to be confirmed dead to have a memorial service. You are confirmed dead if there's a funeral. There's a body if there's a funeral. Okay, that's the difference. So it was important for this story because we don't actually know what happened to Mara's husband. So it was a memorial service, not a funeral. Now it's an educational stream.
Sorry. I haven't had a guest in a while. So, what brings you here today, Crumb?
She's called you Crumb ever since you became a regular at her and Colin's bakery years ago. You always order a crumble cookie, your favorite. A crumble cookie! I just thought that sounded like a cute name for a cookie. Some of the streamers who've played this were like, what's a crumble cookie? In my head, this is what a crumble cookie is, okay? It's like a warm, soft, fresh cookie. You know, when you get like peach cobbler or something, it's got like those like spiced crumbles that are kind of crunchy on the top of it. I imagine like a crumble cookie to be like a soft cookie. Maybe it has like a sticky jam in it with like pie crumbles on the top that are crunchy. And then you bite into it and it's warm and it's soft but crunchy on the top. That's what I imagine a crumble cookie to be. Delicious, right? No wonder it's MC's favorite. The bakery is well loved in your little town, but understandably, it's been closed ever since Colin disappeared a few months ago. See? Disappeared. Okay? He disappeared. That's why it was a memorial. You heard his body was never found, even though he was already presumed dead. It's the town's biggest mystery, and you don't really know much about it. Nobody does. So I learned when I was doing research for this game that in the United States, if somebody is presumed dead legally, it takes 7 years of them being gone missing and nobody knows what happened to him. 7 years. Unless there are extenuating circumstances. There might be circumstances where there's a reasonable suspicion, or there's reason to suspect that the person is most likely dead. And it could be like even within a couple of months. Like let's say, for example, there was something terrible like a mudslide. And nobody, maybe the person was caught in that mudslide and they never found the body, but there was a mudslide and the chances of that person surviving from the mudslide are like 0, basically. Then they might say, you know what, it's not a missing person at this point. We're going to go ahead and legally presume them dead. If it's just completely they've gone missing, they're gonna do legally speaking, they're just missing. So that's the case with Colin, where he's a mystery. We don't know what happened to Colin. He's just missing. That's it. And that's also why the family, to move on, they had a memorial service, but he doesn't necessarily, he doesn't have to be legally presumed dead at this point. But as far as the community goes, as far as the family goes, everyone's like, we've moved on. He's gone. He disappeared out of nowhere. We're going to have a memorial and we're going to have closure. So that's what happened. I'm here because Colin was my friend. I want to talk, or I'm worried. I want to check on you. Well, I'm going to start with, ending 1. So, girl, listen, I'm worried. I'm here to check on you.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mara. Listen, okay, I'm a big fan of yours. I love your bakery. I'm here for you.
Of course, we're friends, aren't we? I'm here for you. Mara nods quietly. You almost ask how she's doing, but after scanning the kitchen in disarray and Mara's disheveled appearance, you decide against it.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that this game had a gameplay aspect to it, even though it's a visual novel and it's a visual novel jam. And Artisan was really passionate about this too. Artisan was talking about, hey, it'd be really great if we could have some kind of gameplay element to this, and that it could be a substantial part of the game. And so I was like, hey, you know what I love? I love little point and click type of games. A lot of narrative games have a point and click element to them. Has anyone ever heard of Big Fish games? These PC games that are like cozy. There's a lot of puzzle games, a lot of point and click games. And so one of those types of Big Fish games that I used to play all the time in college is they would have these like escape rooms almost, where you'd be in a room and you'd have to like look around for clues. And then those clues, you'd gather items, and then you'd be able to figure out how to get to the next room, right? So that's what I was inspired by here. The other thing that inspired me was honestly Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Justana knows what I'm talking about. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the Ace Attorney games, those are probably my first visual novels that I played way back in the day, like way, way back. And the Phoenix Wright games have these kind of point and click, explore the environment, click on different items, and then those items give you clues. And those clues will then allow you to gather evidence that you can present at court. That's the whole mechanic of the Ace Attorney games. And if you're successful in gathering the correct evidence and presenting the correct evidence in the court cases, then you win that level, you can move on. So this was inspired by that type of gameplay where because we only have one of any asset, okay? I couldn't have a whole bunch of items like added PNGs and stuff. Everything had to be part of the background because we could have one background and that one background can have whatever drawn in there. It has to be baked into the background. And so I was like, okay, I know we want gameplay, but what can we do that's really easy for a bunch of noobs and that we could do? And so we created this. Now let me go ahead and take my face off so you can see the full background in all of its glory. And I'm actually going to take off the HUD for a second. Oh, actually, you can make one background with many layered images. It's allowed. It is? I didn't realize that. Oh my gosh, I learned something new. I don't know if the Big Fish games would even work on today's computers. I know, right, Justana? I don't know either. I think they might have a mobile app. I don't know. I haven't played them in a long time. You confirmed that with Dev Talk? Oh. Okay, so I had assumed that we couldn't do that, but so our workaround was we're going, because I was like, oh, it'd be cool if you could like hover your mouse over these things and they would like glow or something. And then you'd know that you could click on it. But and also, again, this was our first visual novel and our first game that we created. So our workaround was we're going to put all of this stuff in the background. It's all there anyways. You would see it anyways. And then Artisan was like, I could just put these text and you can click on the text and then you can have an investigation. So that's how we ended up going. And so, yeah, depending on which choices you make here, these actually count towards which ending you're going to get. So they're not just here for extra information. They do actually matter for the ending that you will earn. So it's been really funny to see the endings that people are getting based on what they're clicking on here. And then also to see people's reactions to the items. Here you can see this is just the background and Mara sitting here. You can see how it all looks together. And this is a window. It's an open window. There's a little bit of a breeze. This is actually a sheer curtain right here. It's a sheer curtain and it's kind of blowing in the breeze, or it could just be, I don't know, a fan or something. I guess it could be closed. I don't know. But this is a sheery curtain with like the sunset shining through. I imagine it's like, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. in the fall or something like that. And then, one of the things that we were going around is we really wanted to make sure that you were kind of really feel like you're stepping into Mara's home. You're not actually in the bakery. You are someone who has been going to the bakery for a long time, and that's how you know the couple, Colin and Mara. But you're actually in Mara's home. The bakery is closed. Colin's missing. You're friends with Colin and Mara, so you're here to check on her. And this is your first time ever in their home. And so as a guest, you're looking around and seeing what's going on. But this also becomes an opportunity to investigate Colin's disappearance. And so depending on whether or not you decide to comfort Mara, or if you decide to be more investigative of Colin's disappearance, that's going to shape the relationship that you have right now with Mara as this grieving widow. So let's go ahead and click on a couple of things here and see what's up with the exploration. She's been crying. Poor Mara. Okay, I have to say, I have to point this out. Watching all the different streamers and YouTubers who've been playing this game, there has been a clear difference between how men react to this game and how women react to this game, which I find endlessly entertaining. Endlessly entertaining. One of those differences between the reactions of men and women is the pile of tissues right here. This pile of tissues, okay? Listen, okay? It's crying, all right? She's been crying. She's in tears, all right? She lost the love of her life, okay? He's missing, he's gone, right? She's been crying. They had a memorial service and everything, okay? A pile of tissues for tears and snot, not the other thing. Yes, okay? The love of her life. He's gone and she's crying, okay? The tissues are not for anything else. All right, it's been said officially by the dev. Okay, now we're gonna look at tea for two. Mara's lavender Earl Grey tea blend. It goes great with pastries. And I want to look at next. Exactly, Justin is correct. See, it's a biological reason, okay? Listen, men. Women don't need tissues for that, okay? We don't need tissues for that. That's why only men have been bringing that up, okay? Y'all look at that pile of tissues and you think something else. Women look at that pile of tissues. It's been like every time. The women are like, oh, she's crying. And the men are like, oh. Okay, she's not that kind of lonely. She's lonely, but not like that. Well, okay, maybe she is. But listen, okay? That's not what that's about. Also, it is a mess in here, okay? Sorry about the mess. This is, cookies, papers, just kind of general mess, more tissues, spider webs, cobwebs, dead flowers, the glasses, just kind of stuff around. Even the picture of him is slightly askew, okay? It's slightly askew. It's just, the place is a mess. Look at Mara. She's a mess. She got stains all over her outfit. I'm going to show you the itch page so you can see what her feet look like. Because we have her full sprite on the one of the devlogs. So I'll show that to you after this too, so you could see all of it. But yeah, it's a mess, okay? We're sorry about the mess. I don't know if we were exactly expecting a guest, but you're here. You're here. So many pastries. Mara has clearly been stress baking. Okay, I'll bring my face back. I'm back. Also, some people said that Mara looks like me. I was not intending for Mara to look like me. Here was my instruction for our artist. I was like, I want her to be racially ambiguous. So that way it's just like her race doesn't matter, Like I did always envision like that Colin would be this like blonde haired dude with glasses. And I don't know why. There was no reason for that. But I was just like, I just think that the main sprite in the game, I just wanted it to be racially ambiguous. That you just don't know, and because it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. But then people are like, she looks like Rue. I don't know. I don't think she looks like me, but sure. We do both have dark hair and we do both have dark colored eyes. Yep. I guess our skin tone is kind of similar too, but she looks a little bit more like a zombie, you know, she's kind of gray. She looked kind of sick, you know, she ain't looking too good.
Slightly embarrassed, Mara slides a teacup toward you. Sorry to be so rude. I should have offered this earlier.
Well, I don't want to be rude. I'm gonna graciously accept and sip the tea.
The familiar comforting drink warms your core.
Also, I have no reason to be rude to Mara. She's done nothing to me, okay? I'm her friend. Why wouldn't I just come in and she's offering tea? How sweet of her. Why wouldn't I accept the tea?
You notice a small, sad smile on Mara's lips. It's my signature lavender Earl Grey blend. I'm glad you like it. Colin likes it too.
No, Mara.
Colin. Her smile falls away. You have fond memories of Mara and Colin at their bakery. Mara baked in the back, emerging sometimes for a shy hello. You saw much more of Colin as the host and cashier. He was a popular guy, friendly, chatty, and smiling. Honestly, they were a really cute couple. Such a shame that Colin is gone.
It is such a shame that he's gone.
You haven't had a crumble cookie in a while. Your eyes pick at a large platter of fresh pastries and pies on the table. Sorry, I'm not good at hosting like Colin. Please, help yourself.
Don't mind if I do.
You pop a crumble cookie into your mouth. So good. Here, try this shepherd's pot pie. Colin loves it.
You know, one thing that people who cook, they really enjoy it when other people enjoy their cooking, you know? And anytime I've cooked something for other people too, you want the people to enjoy your food. And so I figure that for Mara, she's a little shy, you know, she's socially awkward, but she does have friends and she does feel friendly towards Crumb, the nickname for MC. And so she really wants to be a host. You know, she's welcoming us into her house. She's offering us tea, pies, cookies, because I think that it genuinely gives her a little bit of joy to see people enjoying her food. And I also think that's probably the reason why she decided to be a baker, you know? One of the reasons. We'll find out a little bit more about that a little later, but I think she genuinely enjoys baking and cooking and other people enjoying her food.
Mara expertly cuts into the pie and dishes it neatly onto a plate. It smells amazing.
Oh, yes, I'll take a bite.
Yes. A flaky crust, a soft, savory filling of meat, potatoes, and vegetables. No wonder Colin loved it. It tastes incredible.
Okay, so some people were like, Rue, shepherd's pie don't have a crust on that. Okay, like a chicken pot pie does, but a shepherd's pie doesn't. Okay, listen, it's not, I never call it a shepherd's pie. It's a shepherd's pot pie, which is actually a thing. It's basically a shepherd's pie with a crust on the top. Okay? It exists. Google it. Okay? Also, Mara is the kind of baker and cook who puts her own spin onto things. So it's not just Earl Grey tea. It's lavender Earl Grey tea blend, her special blend, okay? So, of course, and she's got crumble cookies. You don't see crumble cookies as a normal thing. She invented that, okay? She created the crumble cookie. She created her own version of a shepherd's pie, a shepherd's pot pie in this case. You know, she created her own version of this tea, a special blend that she put together. So, you know, it's her bakery, okay? She can do what she wants, right? It's her house. She can blend things the way that she wants, but it tastes good. And she's been successful. Her and Colin have been really successful and they've been really beloved in the whole town. Yep, and to dive into the pot pie a little bit more, here we go.
Mara's signature shepherd's pot pie. It was Colin's favorite.
Oh. Okay, let's look at the flowers.
The flowers are dead.
How sad. Let's look at the picture of Colin.
It's Colin with a sunny, handsome smile. What happened to you? You strike up a bit of small talk. You ask,
how did you meet him?
We grew up together. He never paid attention to me at first. No one did. But I followed him everywhere, even to college.
Okay, so listen, you know how at funerals and memorial services and there's, people are grieving. A lot of times when they invite friends and family over, like they kind of want to talk about the one that they lost, and a lot of times they'll bring it up, but especially with funerals and things, they'll go after the service and they go to the survivors, the family member's house, and and everyone talks about the person that passed. They talk about the memories and the good times. And so that's what this question allows us to do. It allows us to reminisce about the life that Colin and Mara had together. And it allows us to learn a little bit more about Colin and Mara's relationship, as MC is a friend of both of theirs. So this would be a very natural thing for a friend to come over and, look at this picture, look at, tell me about how you met and all that. Like that could be a natural conversation that somebody might have in this situation. And so that's why I put this in here. And also I just thought it would be really interesting and it'd give us more insight into Mara's personality to see how she talks about Colin, and that's where some of her more concerning lines come in.
I told everyone he was mine until he finally fell for me. My sweet Colin. He'll always be with me.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, that's totally normal. She's so normal. But this is where a lot of people realized, oh, this is a Yandere game, and she's being a Yandere. So we see here that Mara was definitely a Yandere for Colin. She followed him, I imagine them to be like childhood friends, and she was into him all the way back then. She followed him to college. She stalked him. She was there, right? And she managed to get him to fall in love with her in her mind, I told everyone he was mine until he finally fell for me. Like it was a matter of time, Finally, he fell for me. Exactly. So this is where we really get to see the mentally unwell side of Mara coming out, because her relationship with Colin, in some ways it was sweet. It was a good relationship, It was a good relationship in some ways. They had a business together. They were successful together. They seemed like they were happily married. To all people looking in from the outside, they seemed like a great couple. But here we start to see the sickness in Mara. And for those of you who are curious to know what a yandere is, so yandere in Japanese literally means sick love. And it's the kind of a love interest in anime and otome games and things, and just romance in general, where the character is obsessed. They have meaning sick love is that their love is so strong that it drives them to extreme behavior. So stalking being extreme, uh, in a lot of Yandere visual novels, the Yandere captures the person that they're into. They might attack other people and be extremely emotional about, you know, somebody else looking at the person that they have their eyes set on, you know. In a lot of dark romance and a lot of darker yanderes, they might even go so far as murdering people. So that way they're the only one in the MC's life, right? Or they might even become so emotional that they harm the MC themselves because they're just so overcome with emotion that they don't want to share. Or, you know, they, in their head, you know, it's what they're doing is good for the MC, or in some way. They don't see the world in a healthy way. And so that is Mara's situation, where we start to kind of see she has this weird, extreme obsession with Colin, and it's been lifelong, to where she's been stalking him. She's been following him. She doesn't want to be away from him. He goes to college somewhere else. She goes to the same college. He goes to baking culinary school. She goes to culinary school, right? She looks like she needs some sleep. She really does. She's probably not slept in a long time right now. Mara sinks into her memories. Tears slowly trickle down her cheeks. She sobs quietly. She must feel so lonely. Oh, poor Mara. You know what, girl? Here's some tissues. Here. You lightly pat Mara on the back as she weeps into the tissues. You feel a bond as friends. You're a good friend. You sit together for hours, sharing stories and stuffing your faces with pastries, tea, and pie. You still know nothing about Colin's disappearance. That's fine, you suppose. Ending 1, Bakery Bond. That's the friendship ending. The friendship ending. You were a good friend to Mara. You were exactly what she needed at the time. You know, somebody just come, talk about old stories, eat some pie together, you know? And it was all good. You were a good friend. Some people said that was their favorite ending because it was just sweet. It was nice. Mara is a mess. She's a wreck. And she definitely said some things that are like, girl, I don't know about this. Yeah, Kijinu says, seems like we dodged scary Mara. Sweats. Thank you for the first time chat, and thank you for being here. Oh, so you've played this game. And yes. So now that we've seen happy, friendly Mara, well, not happy. There's at no point in this game is Mara ever happy. She's never happy. But we are going to see some other emotions, and she is a very highly emotional person. And I think it's time to see the second ending. So let's go back. You got ending 2 first, Justana? Ooh. Okay, those of you who've played this game, which ending did you get first? It's always so interesting to see how people get different endings in different orders and from different choices. That was fascinating to me. So actually this game, and I'll tell you I'll go ahead and tell you now, this game is on a point system. So every choice that you make, whether it's dialogue or an investigative choice, has a point towards one of the endings. And so that's how you get one ending or the other, is you rack up points. Yeah. Okay. Listen, Mara. You know what? I'm worried. I'm here to check on you again, okay? This time, we're still friends, you know? I mean, we're friends all the time, I think. Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you. You're welcome, sweetheart. Okay, this time, I'm gonna look at the flowers. Did I click on? Yep. Oh wait, I'm skipping. I don't want to skip right now. Whoops. Hold on.
Sorry to be.
Okay, so we've clicked on the flowers. And then I want to click on T for 2. And then I want to click on the pastries. Excellent. Okay, so she's going to slide the teacups over to me. This time, I'm going to graciously accept and sip the tea. The familiar comforting drink warms your core. Now, for those of you who like to have guides, and I know that a lot of people playing visual novels, and speaking with other devs too, saying that, you know, the majority of their players use a guide. And especially with romance games, a lot of times people want to avoid certain endings. So I created a guide and it's available on itch. So if you're playing this and you don't want to figure it out yourself on how to get all the endings, I got you. I got you. Poor Mara. You know what? We're going to take a bite. Chomp, yummy, yummy. Eat the pie. It's so good. Okay, now, I'll do the tissues. And I'll do the shepherd's pot pie. And I'm gonna ask her, Mara, what's your favorite flower? You flick your eyes toward the dead flowers. You've always wanted to do something nice for Mara.
Huh? Forget-me-nots.
So for those of you who have not seen forget-me-nots, they're these little blue flowers, and they're really pretty. And I actually wrote a song. It's called Roses and Forget-Me-Nots. And there's a line that goes, "You gave me roses and forget-me-nots, but even they won't mend a broken heart." I'm losing my voice. Here, I'll play it. I'll play it for you. It's under here. Okay, so there's a little bit of that song. Y'all, when I'm talking for like 2-3 hours, I can't sing anymore. Like, it sounds terrible because I've been talking for so long. But anyway, that's Roses and Forget-Me-Nots. So that's kind of this was a nod to that. So these are dead roses, and her favorite flowers are Forget-Me-Nots.
I'll order them right now.
Okay, so we're like really swooping in on Mara now. We're like, oh, you like Forget-Me-Nots? It's your favorite flower? Let me get that for you.
You reach for your phone, but you can't get a signal. Sorry, reception sucks out here, but...
I get it, real. especially if you're in a small town out in the country, you know, it's very common for reception to suck. And that was also a way for me to, you know, I was like, okay, if we're in this situation and an MC tries to call out, well, you know, well, I guess I'll get to the end of this ending and then I'll tell you why I did this. But I figured like it makes sense that we're in a small town out in the boonies, you know what I mean? And it makes sense that the phone doesn't freaking work, you know? Real.
Mara leans in close. I appreciate the thought, Crumb. Mara sinks into her memories. Tears slowly trickle down her cheeks. She sobs quietly. She must feel so lonely. This time I'm going to cover her hand with mine.
Girl got me a little bit with that.
Mara doesn't pull away. You see a consuming glint in her eyes. I've always cared for you, Mara. I'm sorry. It's not my place. Forgive me. I'll go. Heart thrumming. You make your way to the door and turn the knob. It's locked. Inside? Confused, you turn toward Mara. She's so close. You feel her breath. Mara? Crumb. Don't leave me. Ever. Ending 2. Locked in love. That's the romance ending, y'all. You successfully rizzed up Mara. That's what happened. We rizzed her up. She's down bad, and we're not going anywhere. We're done. We ain't going nowhere, y'all. And here's the thing, okay? As a yandere, you know, I was like, she's alone, okay? Colin's gone. But just because Colin's gone doesn't mean like that her tendency to be a yandere is gone, you know? So what happens if a yandere loses the person that they're in love with? What happens then? That thing about their personality that led them into becoming a yandere in the first place is still there. And so what we see in that ending is that Mara has just attached herself to you now. You are the one, okay? The whole world revolves around you now, and you're stuck. You're not going nowhere, okay? It's Mara or bust. That's right, Justana. You are the new obsession. You're the new obsession. And I think that it's really fitting for a yandere personality because usually in romance novels, we see the yandere becoming a yandere for the first time, exhibiting yandere behavior on the MC for the first time. You know, there's no reason to suspect them oftentimes. Yanderes are oftentimes surprise yanderes. Well, Mara's not a surprise yandere, especially if you've got one of the other endings and you've seen how she talks about Colin. Like, you know, she's a yandere. You know it. And it's marketed as a yandere game. That was one of the things that was important for me as a dev because I knew I wanted this game to get played. And right now, what's all the rage? Yanderes are all the rage. Let me tell you what, okay. I put every tag that was relevant for this game on itch. Every relevant tag. There's one tag that shines above all the rest that brought me traffic. And it was the yandere tag, okay? The number one tag was yandere. So I did that on purpose. So like I knew I wanted to make a yandere game, partly because I thought it would be really fun. And I was like, challenge, I want to write a yandere character. Challenge accepted. I do appreciate yandere games. I've played quite a bit of them myself, and I knew I wanted to do one. Hi, Fantasy Finale. Welcome, you stunner. Thank you for being here. Y'all go follow Fantasy Finale on Twitch and YouTube.
Okay, if there's a variety of games, a lot of story-based games, a lot of RPGs. How am I? I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to show off Sorry About the Mess and talk about all of the things. Y'all, this is a 15-minute game, but I've stretched it out to like 2 hours just talking. I'm answering everybody's questions. We're talking all about like behind the scenes. Yep. Telling all. It's such a fun game. Fantasy Finale is one of the people who we're going to share his clip. I got your vertical clips, and we're gonna play those in a little bit. I'm gonna react to your reactions. Yep. So anyways, yeah, just because you're the object of the yandere's obsession is no longer there, that doesn't mean they're no longer a yandere. So I was like, well, what would happen if a yandere's lover died? What would happen if somebody who they were already had a good relationship, an affinity for, were to walk in the right situations, the right environment, and the right time? What would happen? You know, if they started to present themselves as a potential love interest, right? Then I was like, it totally makes sense that they would turn their attention to you. Okay, let's get the third ending now.
Oh, it's you. Come on in, Crumb.
Sorry about the mess. Okay, so one of the things too that you'll notice is before Mara fades in, right here, you kind of see a glimpse of the background. That chair back there is unfinished. So that was one of the things that we learned. So we knew that we wanted to have this sprite in here. She wasn't just going to be, it's not a CG. She's a sprite. And I knew I wanted her to be able to like zoom in, like medium. So like right here, it looks like she's standing in front of us, right? So it's like, oh, I knock on the door, I go into the house, she opens the door, she's standing right there. And it totally looks like that. And then as we enter the room, we pull out a chair, we sit down, she sits down, and it looks like she's sitting down in the chair. And so even though we only have one sprite, I wanted it to feel dynamic. I wanted it to feel like she has multiple poses, even though she really doesn't. And so by using the zoom in and out, the close-ups versus the far away, that was like a trick to kind of give the idea that she's standing really close to you, or that she's sitting in the chair next to you. And then if you also look back here, like at the leg over here, the leg, that's where her leg. So, you know, again, all of this is human made. So we have human made little things that we learned is that even though she's like sitting here, she's always in the frame for the most part. There are times when I was like, oh, I might want to have just the background with no Mara maybe. And then Rosie was like, oh, I kind of drew it so that way she's always in the chair. And I'm like, oh, got it. She's always in the chair. She's zoomed in. So we pulled her in. We positioned her so that way you wouldn't be able to notice that this table leg is not completed and the chair is not completed. But for a quick second, if you were watching closely, you saw that the chair isn't complete. And so that was like a learning thing for all of us, that to have the complete flexibility, your background will be a complete background without anything in it. Woo! Almost knocked this over. And then your sprite can go on top of it. And that could be like for anything in a future game that we might make, like maybe we have different items that are there sometimes and they're not there some other times. And then in that case, we wouldn't want to hard bake those items into the background. We'd want to have an overlay for that item so it can be there sometimes or go away some other times. So that was a learning curve for me. And for our team being first time. But you know what? In the end, when I look at it, I was like, it actually kind of fits, it kind of gives it more of that horror vibes Makes it a little more unsettling, a little scary if you happen to take a look at that and see that little thing back there. Like, we covered it up and did a great job, so I don't think most people ever notice that little detail. But in the end, I'm like, you know what? It kind of like adds to the charm. It adds to the horror. But yeah, she's letting us in the house, so she would be standing up at this point. And then here she is. She's sitting back in her chair, you know? And so it's like, oh, now she's sitting down. So it feels like, even though we only have one sprite, because that's a limitation of the jam, we only have one sprite, but we were able to make her feel dynamic, to feel like she's moving around the room. And we're moving around the room because she's able to move forward and back. So yeah. And that's also why I was like, I didn't want her hands to be too up high. You know, her hands are down low. You know, I could zoom in enough to where you can't see her leg, her knee. So it really does give that illusion of multiple poses. All right, this time I'm here because Colin was my friend. I want to talk. Mara nods quietly. You almost ask how she's doing, but after scanning the kitchen in disarray and Mara's disheveled appearance, you decide against it. All right, this time, y'all, we're going to look at the glasses. Are these Colin's glasses? Strange, he wasn't wearing them. We're going to look at the picture of Colin. It's Colin with a sunny, handsome smile. What happened to you? We're going to look at the pie. Mara's signature shepherd's pot pie. It was Colin's favorite. Slightly embarrassed, Mara slides a teacup toward you. And this time we're going to be rude and we're going to push the teacup aside. No, I will not drink your delicious tea. Push the tea aside. It was really fun watching YouTubers play this and like how people reacted to the tea. Some people are like, no, it's poisoned. I can't drink that. And some are like, yeah, fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. There's nothing sus about it. Her smile falls away. You know what? We remember the couple fondly. You know, they're our friends. You know? Will I take a bite or let it sit? And I'll tell you now, it does not matter which you choose. Here, you can eat the pie or you can let it sit. It doesn't matter. Either way, you're eating crumble cookies. No matter what, you're eating something, okay? You can avoid the tea. You can avoid the pie. But I forced you to eat crumble cookies. Your nickname is Crumb after all, okay? You're gonna eat your namesake. Okay, all right. Also, that gave me the opportunity to, if I was to have the flexibility, or like we can make an assumption that if something bad happens to MC, like we get fuzzy or something, then we can be like, you can't be like, oh, but I didn't eat anything. Yes, you did. You ate a crumble cookie. So it doesn't matter what you pick here. Also, you know, people were starting to get suspicious at this scene, you know. People are like, what's up with this pie? They didn't trust it, okay? They didn't trust it for many reasons. But you know what? Just because we haven't done it yet, we're going to let it sit. But again, it doesn't matter as far as your choices in the game. And now I'm going to skip. You strike up a bit of small talk. You ask, oh, how old is this picture of Colin? He looked so handsome. Yes, Crumb. My Colin is handsome. All right, Mara, like, calm down, okay? I was just observing that he was handsome. Also, did you notice that Mara says is handsome? Mara talks about Colin in the present tense. So think about that as we get a little further. You didn't mean to upset Mara. You back away from the photo. Oh, I'm sorry I made you mad, girl. Mara sinks into her memories. Tears slowly trickle down her cheeks. She sobs quietly.
She must feel so lonely. Wow, I'm really awkward around crying people, which is, I think most people would feel awkward in this situation right now, you know? Like, yeah, we're friends, but we're probably more friends with Colin. Like we did say earlier that we spent more time with Colin. He was the friendly, cheery one. He was the host, you know? And Mara was always in the back baking pies. Sometimes she'd come out to say hi, but we really saw Colin more often. So in this playthrough, we probably feel more friendly towards Colin. We miss Colin. Yes, we're friends with both of them as a couple, but we're here to investigate what's going on with Colin. Where's Colin? What happened to Colin? We want to talk about Colin. Maybe she knows something. But it didn't really go well when we were looking at the picture. You know, she got real angry. And now we feel awkward. Silently play with your pie. You've never felt so unbearably awkward. All you wanted were answers. How did things turn out like this? You look down, nervously poking at your shepherd's pot pie. I, for one, will play with my food if I feel awkward and I'm not hungry, you know? I'm like, I had my cookie. This is really awkward. I just, like you're sitting there playing with your food, you know? You don't want to look like you're being rude and refusing the pie. Like she served it for you. You know, she is being hospitable. Okay, it's awkward. Crumb, you seem awfully obsessed with my husband. She's still mad. She is still mad. Because I looked at that picture a little too long. Mara, come on. You know it's not like that. Mara glares at you, seething. A small fear blooms in your chest. Your heart pounds. As your fork picks at the pie, it strikes something hard, odd. You clear away the meat to examine further. It's a tooth. The music stopped. Uh-oh. A human tooth. Oh God. Colin. You feel sick. Mara, let's talk about this. Okay? Could we talk? I won't say anything. I promise. How you disappeared? Another unsolved mystery. Ending 3. The pie is a lie. You got. As I often say, okay, there's never a 0% chance of cannibalism in romance, all right? Here's one of the reasons why I did not want the pie to matter towards which ending you got, is because I wanted people to have that moment, to have eaten the pie at any point in this game. And if they didn't clock right away that Colin was in the pie, if they didn't clock that right away, I wanted them to have that moment of like, oh my God, I ate that. Oh, no. I ate pie. People pie. Like, I just wanted to have that moment. And I know that I was successful because of some of the comments on my itch page. Not everybody has seen Sweeney Todd, okay? All right? Those of you who figured it out immediately, you're very smart. I'm proud of you. But not everybody has seen Sweeney Todd, okay? Not everybody clocked that pie. Some people are like, oh, some people were more paying attention to the tea. Some people are like, oh, the tea, it's poison. I was like, the tea ain't poison. There's nothing wrong with the tea. It's just tea, okay? It's the pie. Maybe the crumble cookie.
but the tea is fine. And the reason, and I mean, maybe, I guess you could take it, you could interpret it how you want to, really. But I didn't want the tea to be the thing, because here's a trope as far as yanderes goes. Okay, if you've ever been in a yandere stream with Jitterrue, you know that it always starts with the tea, okay? It always starts with the tea. The yandere gives you tea, you fall asleep, and the next thing you know, you wake up in an attic or dog crate or something, okay? That's what happens. That's part of the trope, okay? The tea is a trap. Yeah. Yeah, it's all in our heads. It's a trap. Exactly, Fantasy Finale. So I knew if I put tea there, it could maybe help detract people from suspecting the pie, because I knew that I wanted the pie is a lie, which, yes, that is a play on the cake is a lie from Portal. Remember? Aperture science. We do it, we must, because we can. For the good of all, except the ones who are dead. Well, there's no use crying after every mistake, and we'll just keep trying till we run out of cake. Well, there's science to be done, and we'll make a neat gun of the people who are still alive. We're doing science on those still alive. And when you're dead, I will be still alive. And when you're dying, I'll be still alive. Still alive. Still alive. Well, anyways, in Portal, there's the cake is a lie. In this game, it's the pie is a lie. Literally, the pie is a lie. Okay, it's not lamb or beef or pork. Nope, it's Colin pie. Yep. So anyways, I wanted people to have that moment where they're like, oh, I ate that. Got you. Yeah, and so that's why I also wanted to have multiple things on the table and not just the pie, because I knew that if it was only a pie, people would be like, people were suspicious of the pie immediately, but even then, even the people who were like, oh, he's totally in the pie, were like, maybe not, because there's other things on the table. You know, there's the tea, and anyone who plays a bunch of Yandere games is going to immediately suspect the tea. And then there's these cookies. Okay, maybe these cookies are a thing, right? There's these other elements around the room. And so I was like, not only does this give us something to investigate in our point and click gameplay, but it also helps to kind of hopefully maybe throw people off a little bit from the ultimate mystery, which is, where's Colin and what's in this pie? Okay, there's one more ending. Okay, one more. Oh, it's... Okay, so to get this next ending, what we have to do is we have to pick even points, okay? So, like I said before, there's two paths, essentially. Friendliness, and like there's the Mara path. There's the friends with Mara path, and then there's the investigate Colin path, okay? And so if you pick even choices between both of those paths, you will end in somewhere in between. So that's what we're about to do now. So I'm going to start off being sweet and nice. Oh, that's... Yeah,
nice of you.
I'm so nice. And then I'm going to skip this. And I'm going to accept, yes, let's have tea together. Because that matters. This doesn't matter. I'll take a bite. Chomp. It's delicious. Okay, and then I can skip here again. Okay, this time I started off being nice. And now I'm going to get like more Colin-centric, more rude. Okay. How old is this picture of Colin? See, that's more like... rude. That's like investigating versus like, how did you meet Colin? That's showing more interest in Mara and Colin as a couple. That's showing more like friendship cues, you know what I mean? Whereas like, how old is this picture? What do you mean, how old is it? Why are you asking that? Okay, it's you're investigating at this point, right? Right? And then, of course, what's your favorite flower? That's like romantic. You give someone that you have feelings for, flowers and things. Now, you don't have to be romantic to be a flower, right? But we are asking what the favorite flower is for Mara, and we're giving her the flower. We're not giving the memorial, we're not going to the grave site and giving the gravestone a flower, which is what you would do like in a memorial service, a funeral or something, or you're going to the site after the fact to put flowers on the grave. You're not doing that. You're giving Mara a flower. So that's why you get romance here. So friendship, death, and romance. These are the different endings you can have. I'm going to say, how old is this picture? He looks so handsome. Look at him with his blonde hair and his nondescript face and his glasses. He's a McGonagall.
Yes, Crumb. My Colin is handsome.
I think I did a good job with that line. I wanted her to sound like, I didn't want her to sound over the top in my acting of her. Like I do tend to kind of act over the top, especially like in my Jitterrue streams. Like I'm like squealing and giggling and yelling and laughing. Like I act crazy. Okay. I recognize this. Okay. It's fun. But I wanted Mara to be her own person. I wanted, even though she has my voice, and I didn't want to like overact her. I wanted it to seem natural. And so, but I also wanted her emotions to come through really strongly. So I really wanted people to feel like, damn, like she's mad, But I didn't want her to be like screaming, yelling, like, yeah, Crumb, my Colin is handsome. Back off, But not for her to be like screaming at you. Oh, sorry, Mara. I didn't mean to make you mad. Oh no, now she's crying. I feel so awkward. I think a lot of people, especially if you don't know someone that well, if someone cries in front of you, I think a lot of people would be ready to leave in this case. You know what I mean? Justana says, I like that she talks about Colin in the present tense. Yes, exactly. Because to her, he's not gone. To her, he's not gone. We're going to talk about that more in a second here. Well, it's been real awkward, Mara. I think it's time to go. I don't know what to do. You're angry, you're upset, you're crying. I feel really bad. I like you, but not like that. Silently play with your pie. You pause, then take your leave. No ending. There it is. That's the no ending. Let's look at our ending collection. Ending 1, bakery bond, that's friendship. Ending 2, locked in love, that's romance. And ending 3, the pie is a lie, that's death. And then no ending. Yep, this ending was so funny to me. I know. A lot of people were like, you know what? This is the only ending that actually makes sense. Like in real life, a lot of people said that the no ending is the only one that's like, okay, that could happen in real life. Where you go to their house, you talk to them a little bit, it's really awkward, and you're like, okay, I'm out. Bye. You survived in that ending. Okay, you didn't get locked up. You didn't get ate. You didn't get chomped or whatever, You didn't go missing. You left. It's over, And then bakery bond, I imagine you survived with bakery bond too. Like you ate the pie, you had tea, and you had no idea that you was eating Colin. I like that one. To me, I find the friendship ending to be particularly funny, especially if you get it after some of these other endings. Like if you played the death ending first and then you played friendship, I think it's freaking hilarious that MC is just like having a grand old time, chit-chatting, talking about Colin and Mara and how sweet of a couple they were, and, giving your hugs and stuff, and y'all are eating cookies and pie and tea and stuff together, and not a care in the world, Nothing outside of normal. It's just like you're being a nice friend. And to me, the friendship one is so funny because and then it's like, you know, I never found out what happened to Colin. It's fine. It's fine. That's what that one is. It gets me. It gets me. That one fries me. Oh my God. Okay, so let me tell you some of my other thoughts about let me put on the talking mode. Okay, we don't need this one on. Okay, so some of my other thoughts here. So the present tense. So MC refers to Colin in the past tense. Everybody refers to Colin in the past tense, right? Because to them, there was a memorial service. Colin went missing. He's presumed dead. Colin's gone. He's past tense, right? A normal person would say Colin was, you know, he was this great guy. He was the host at the bakery. But for Mara uses the present tense to refer to Colin. He is so handsome. He is my Colin. He, you know, it's his favorite pie. It's his favorite cookie. It is in the present tense. Now, why did I decide to do that? Well, the reason why is because I wanted to get deep down into Mara's brain, into her head, and think about, like, in her point of view, she's a Yandere, okay? And Colin is the object of her obsession. And in this case, in all the endings except for one, which is the romance ending, Colin is still the object of Mara's obsession. Now, there's also something out there called vor, which is like cannibalism, romance and cannibalism, right? And I always joke around that there's never a 0% chance of cannibalism in romance. Now, what is a vampire if not a glorified cannibal, okay? Like, what is a vampire if not a cannibal? I ask you, okay? It's a cannibal. They just drink liquids, right? But it's still a cannibal. And yet, romance, in novels, in movies, in games, vampires are extremely popular. But then there's also like these other types of like sub genres of romance that where this idea of eating something combines you with the thing that you're eating. Okay, and so I think Mara being a Yandere, for being a little sick in the head, for Mara, the act of consuming the love of her life is an act of love. Okay. Now, we don't know what happened between Colin and Mara to lead to his demise. Okay. And we don't know how she did it. Maybe she did poison him. Maybe she did give him some funny tea. Why? You know, maybe he threatened to leave. You know, maybe he was like, you know what, Mara, we're done. I'm leaving. We're out. And then her being a Yandere is like, no, you're stuck with me forever. You're mine. You can't leave. You can't go. You know, maybe she was like holding on to him and was like, you know what? You'll never leave me. In fact, I'm going to eat you. And then we'll be together forever. You'll be part of my body. You'll be part of my very essence by eating you, right? And so that's what I think is what was going on in Mara's head, is she's just so obsessed that she wants him to be with her forever. And what better way to do that than to actually become one permanently as nourishment for her cells, right? So she eats him and she doesn't see anything wrong with it. So she offers it to a guest who's there to visit. She made him into the most delicious pie ever, you know, and she's offering it genuinely. I think she's actually eating that pie and she's offering it to a friend who she trusts, who she cares about, you know? And I can see why that if you refuse the pie, if you refuse the tea, you're insulting her. Because, you know, she doesn't see what she's doing is wrong. She doesn't see it as wrong. Her brain doesn't go there. Okay. That's what's happening with her. She has good intentions, but she is woefully, she's not thinking about it the way that a normal person does. Justana had suspicions about the pie. Yeah. A lot of people are like, he's in the pie. Oh my God. Okay, I want to show you some things on the itch page really quick. So I'm going to take the game down here. I'm so grateful, and it's had good ratings. Almost a full 5 stars out of 49, which is amazing. And I'm so honored. I'm so grateful that people would actually play this crazy little game. Let me show you. I want to show you the art. Mara's a wreck, but we love her. Oh, period, and more will be coming. There will be more. There will be more. We're going to do Spooktober. Spooktober is going to happen. It's going to be so crazy. Sorry about the mess, concept art. Mara's a wreck, but we love her. I'll read this to you. This is an inside look at sprite design for Mara for the 2026 One of NES at 02A2 Jam. Oh, it's you. Come on in, Crumb. Thank you to everyone who's played Sorry About the Mess and given our Yandere widow Mara some love. For 3 noobs to game dev, creating our very first visual novel for the 2026 02A2 Jam was a trip. And I'm afraid we're hooked now. Yep, we are. Our artist, Rosia, did a fantastic job of bringing Mara to life visually. And though you couldn't see the entire sprite clearly in the game, she was designed thoughtfully from head to toe. We think she's pretty stunning, eye bags and all. So we want to show you her full design and concepts in this devlog blog. And I just want to give a round of applause to Rosia. You really knocked it out the park with the art. I mean, I'm so, every time I look at it, I'm so impressed with the art. And it was so fun working together and making this vision come to life. Truly was amazing to work with. My whole team, Artisan was great to work with. Great job on the programming. And Rosia was great to work with. And, you know, for 3 newbies, I think we did a pretty dang good job. So this was kind of the original, you know, we had a few iterations, but this is essentially the concept that became the background, you know, and it was Rosia's idea to have, you know, I was like, I knew I wanted items on the table. I knew I wanted it to be messy, but it was Rosia's idea to have like items around. Like I was like, oh, there could be a picture on the table and all this stuff. But she was like, oh, you know what? What if we put different things around in the room? Like we could put glasses over here, a teapot over here, the picture on the wall, the roses on the windowsill, you know, all of these things like just kind of scattered around the room. And so that was her idea, and it was a brilliant idea, and it worked out perfectly for our game. Look at Mara's full sprite. That's it right there. I'm going to zoom in on that. Zooming in. Here's her full sprite, y'all. Look at her slippers. And she has one tall sock and one scrunched down sock, you know, because she's a mess. We tried maybe like, oh, what if we had different color socks? But this ended up being the best combination. And then also we were kind of like going back and forth between like, what do we want the color of the apron to be? Because we knew we wanted, I knew I wanted an apron. I didn't know what color it should be. And so I was consulting with the team, like, you know, what color should it be? And at first we were like, maybe green. And then I was talking about the apron color. So our artist was like, you know, it doesn't look like horror. And so we wanted it to have those elements of horror, of it to be unsettling. And, you know, she's a cannibal. And also red would hide the color of blood. So if there's blood stains on her apron, you wouldn't see it. And I didn't want it to look gory, you know? I didn't want it to be like gory. I didn't want to have blood splatters on the apron. I didn't want it to be too obvious that she cooked Colin, okay? We didn't want it to be obvious. So having the red apron was perfect. And that's a cute color for a bakery apron anyway. So she's got stains and stuff on her clothes. She's all wrinkly and everything. You know, she's got her leggings and stuff on. She's got her tall sock and her short sock and her little slippers and stuff. Because, you know, she's been having it rough. She's been having it rough. And red is the color of love. That's true. Good point. Oh my gosh, I think I just saw lightning. I did see lightning. I hear lightning. Okay, y'all, listen. If I suddenly disappear, if the stream shuts down, it's because there's a lightning storm. And sometimes they get really bad out in this area and we lose power in the house. Like all the power goes out. So if I disappear, it's because the power went out. I'm safe. I'm fine. Nothing bad should be happening. Penny is terrified, but there's a lightning storm, and it usually the power goes out when it gets bad enough. So hopefully we're good. I'll just keep going as long as I can until the power does going out, because I'm having fun chit-chatting with you all. So we're gonna keep chit-chatting as long as we can. So here is some early art on Mara's face, which I love this. Like, so I knew that we could not have multiple sprites, but what we could have is infinite facial expressions. And so that's one of the ways that we made Mara dynamic. And also I wanted to be able to like really zoom in close on her face and really see like the full extent of her craziness through her facial expressions. And so this is one of those earlier drafts. So here we can see some of her facial expressions where we see her crying, you know, she's so upset. This is her like kind of surprised, her angry face, her like, I'm crazy in love face, you know, her like neutral kind of a face. And then her like, this is her neutral. This is her neutral smile. We were thinking about different ideas for like eye colors and things. In the end, I decided that black would be the best eye color for her because it could kind of be more creepy when we need it to be. Like people don't have purely black eyes that are that large. And so it was kind of like, you know, you could like look into the vast expanse of her dark eyes. And then it could make it when she goes, you know, full Yandere mode or the death ending and she's scary, you know, and her eyes darkened, you know, that I thought that the black eye with no like iris and pupil situations, just black, dark eyes would add to her ability to be creepy and scary. And people were actually scared of her, which I love. I love that she was scary, but she was sweet at the same time, you know? She was sweet, she was darling, she's precious and scary at the same time. This is a cute chibi. Our artist was like, can I make a chibi? And I was like, yes, please do. And I love this. And I like how our artist wanted to show different sides of Mara. You know, so this is how we see her in the game. You know, this is her base. This is her. But, you know, what was she like before? You know, what about when she was a blushing, happy, married lady? You know, also in romance games, we don't see a lot of references to marriage, you know, unless it's a side character. But for main characters, we don't have a lot of widows. We don't have a lot of people who'd been married at all. And so I was like, you know, I think it'd make her more interesting if she is a widow. You know, she was married. And that was part of her being a yandere in her past, that the person that her object of obsession was actually her husband. I thought that would make her a little bit more unique than what we usually see with yanderes, where it's like the childhood friend that's been obsessed with MC forever. And you know what I mean? That's what we oftentimes will see, where they've known MC for a long time. They've been obsessed with MC secretly, and then they, surprise, I'm a yandere. Or even if they didn't know MC forever, you know, it's usually not, you know, there's just not that many married people that are main characters in romance games. And I get it, because like it's about falling in love, you know, and a lot of times it's that first time of that relationship that we really focus on. But I just thought it would make her a little bit more interesting to have had a history, and then also give us some background to make it easier to make a really short game that still feels complete and it doesn't feel like, wow, that was rushed. You know, I knew it was going to feel rushed because it's only 1,000 words, but I wanted it to feel like that could happen. Like I could see that, like maybe she had a whole background. And so our artist wanted to kind of depict other sides to her, like the blushing sweetheart that she was at one point before she was the Yandere mess. She was a blushing sweetheart Yandere. Yeah. Are you ready to see the reactions to this game? I know I am. Okay, we'll make it full screen and go.
I'll go. Heart thrumming. You make your way to the door and turn the knob. It's locked. Inside? Mara, what the fuck? Confused, you turn towards Mara. She's so close, you feel her breath.
Crumb, don't leave me. Ever.
Mara! Mara, please! Mara! Mara, what do you want? Mara! Ending 2. Locked in love. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. Okay, so for ending 3, I'm supposed to...
That was Epic's Lion, y'all. Epic's Lion, there is a link to his YouTube channel. Give him a follow, check him out. He also does a lot of visual novels. He does Yandere visual novels. That's what's on his channel. And he's just hilarious. So Epic's Lion, I just love the way he was like screaming at that ending. You know? I was laughing his playthrough. I was laughing the whole time because he was just like squealing and freaking out. Also, fun fact, we're going to be doing a Spooktober game here in September. We're going to be working on it and it's due by the end of September. And the Spooktober game is called, I don't have a name for it yet. We can't really start actually working on it until September. So just a couple of days really from now. But Epic's Lion here is going to be a voice actor in our next visual novel, the next Jitterrue visual novel. Epic's Lion will be voice acting, and we have a name for his character. So this is a community-driven visual novel that we're going to do for Spooktober. The entire premise is turn your favorite romance. It's turn your favorite streamer into a tentacle monster. And what happened was my chat started putting tentacles on emotes of the Rue emotes, you know, of me. And then they gave it a name. They named it Runicle. And then they did like a Bone Bride Banish with it. They all brided Runicle. They did that. Yeah, they're unhinged. My chat is unhinged, y'all. Like, to the nth degree. How dare they? How dare they? How could you turn me into a tentacle monster? Well, then they were like, Rue, we want another game. After I did Sorry About the Mess, they were like, Rue, we want another game. We want a hot guy. We want another hot chick. We want a tentacle monster. We want Runicle to have her own game. That was the thing. They wanted Runicle to have her own game. They wanted a hot guy. And they wanted it to have yanderes and horror and all that kind of stuff. And then they're like, please, Spooktober. And at first I was like, haha, that's funny. No. But then I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? By golly, we're going to do it. We're going to do Runicle Spooktober. And so we're doing it. And so in my Discord, we have people that are contributing to Runicle from like ideas to they're going to be submitting short stories. They're going to be submitting chats because it's going to be a Twitch stream simulation, basically. And then there's also going to be like a romance element to it as well. So they're like naming their chatters. They're submitting like chats for their characters. They're going to be, we also have, for anyone who is a content creator or a dev, we're going to have fake Twitch ads that basically lead to actual games or people's channels. So if you're a content creator and you ever do like, we want to keep it more towards the visual novels as much as possible. But if you have any visual novels in your repertoire, and you want to be featured, you want a fake ad, basically you would make like yourself like you would do a thumbnail. It would be like a thumbnail. You'd make like a fake ad for yourself, basically. No AI. There's no AI allowed for the jam. And but people are just really excited. And then they're also submitting short stories that are scary stories, because the fake stream is going to be Butterrue. I might come up with a different name, but she has to be Runicle. They want Runicle. So I was like, well, how do I get Runicle from something other than like Jitterrue? Well, how about Butterrue? Because if she's a tentacle monster, butter goes really good on calamari. But this is not a cannibal game, okay? Listen, I don't know. It's funny. And then the guy, he's the co-streamer. They're in the same room together, so they're like neighbors or something. They're not into each other. Like, they're platonic, okay? They're just friends. Because MC is the one that can have romance with either character. You can either romance Runicle or you can romance Hot Jelly Daddy. That's the Lion's character. And the Jitterrue Stunner community created and voted on the name. And they voted for Hot Jelly Daddy. That's his name. We call him Hot JD for short. And the whole idea that they came up with is like, his username is Hot Jelly Daddy because A, he's obsessed with jellyfish. He loves jellyfish. And B, he wants everyone to call him Daddy. He's self-proclaimed, okay? Self-proclaimed Daddy. And then they voted on his personality type. And they said this, Rue, we want a tsundere yandere. So he's both. He's a yandere and a tsundere. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. This is going to be a challenge, but challenge accepted. So anyways, that's the character that Lion here is going to be voice acting. And I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And so let's look at the next clip. The next clip is also a lion clip.
It's a tooth.
Okay, so the human tooth, this is like, this is the part that everyone had some kind of amazing reaction. Like every single video reacted to the tooth. Oh, that's a great question. What's a tsundere? Okay, so as far as romance anime types, these come from Japanese names that are popular in anime, video games, and things like that. There are lots of different deres, if you will, but there's kind of 4 main ones. And so those would be tsundere, yandere, dere, and kudere are the ones that you hear about the most often. But there's a whole bunch more. And then, there's other types like himbo, cinnamon roll, etc., etc. Now, tsundere is the kind of a character where they act like a jerk, okay? They're real spiky on the outside. On anime, you probably hear them say baka, which means idiot all the time. They're always calling you an idiot. They're calling you a bird brain. They're calling you a moron. They're calling you a dumb cat. They're calling you names. Okay, they act rude, all right? They're rude. They're kind of mean. They're jerks. But deep down inside, they love you, okay? And in the case of a romance game, the tsundere is the one who, like, they act all rude and stuff at first, like they're so mean. They're like, they're just, how dare you? But then after you get to know them a little bit, you start to like chip away at their spiky exterior until you get to the gooey on the inside. And that's the dere, which is the lovey-dovey, right? So that's what it's tsundere, okay? They act like jerks on the outside, but deep down inside, they love you, okay? They're precious. So they wanted tsundere. Now, we talked about yandere earlier. Now, that means sick love, okay? Yan meaning sick, dere meaning love. And so they're the ones that are like, I'm super obsessed with you. I'm stalking you. I'm exhibiting I'm exhibiting abnormal behavior because of my obsessive, excessive love for you. Now that's the Yandere. So by having a tsundere Yandere character, that means that Hot Jelly Daddy has to be the kind of character who acts like a jerk. Okay, like he's gonna be like, all right, you freaks, get out of here, kind of thing. He's gonna be pranking poor Butterrue when he's on stream with her. You know, they're gonna have banter and stuff. He's gonna be like the kind of guy who's like throwing shade and insults and stuff. But yet he's still lovable, okay? He can't be such of a jerk where you don't love him. He's still lovable. That's the thing with tsunderes. It's like they're rude, but there's still something about them that makes them lovable. And then he has to be at the same time a yandere for his MC. And MC is a chatter in this Spooktober game. And so we're going to have it where he's obsessed with this MC, and I'm going to have to write in some cues there. So, you know, on the outside, he seems like this jerk and everything, but deep down inside, he's a softie. But then at the same time, he has an unhealthy obsession for MC and is going to exhibit yandere behavior. He's maybe not the safest kind of guy to be around, you know? That's who Hot Jelly Daddy is going to be. Whew, and I start writing it in September, so challenge accepted. It will be quite the challenge, but I think I can do it. I'm writing the game. In Epic Slime, he will be voice acting that character, and I will be voice acting Butterrue. Yep.
A human tooth. Oh, God. Colin. I knew it. I feel sick. No! 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 Don't do that! Don't do that! Nope! Nope! Mara, no! Why is the background red? How you disappeared? Another unsolved mystery. Ending 3. The pie is a lie. All right, so we're gonna go.
Okay, I just liked the way he was like, Mara, no, like she's a dog or something. His playthrough was killing me, y'all. I was just like, I was busting laughing so hard. It was so funny. And like he was one of those people that like he seemed like he clocked the pie, but he didn't point it out right away. I think partly because a lot of streamers don't want to like spoil it. You know, I think he wanted, if there was anybody watching him, you know, you don't want to like spoil the best part in the very beginning, right? And so I think he was kind of like, he seemed like suspicious of the pie for sure, but I think he was kind of like holding it to see what was going to happen. But yeah, I think, and then he mentioned when it happened, like, I knew it was the pie. So that was fun to watch, to see that reaction. Now let's take a look at the next streamer, the next YouTuber. Okay, this is Lottie Starshot. And Lottie also does a lot of visual novels, a lot of romance games, a lot of otome games and things. And so if that's your thing, Lottie is a VTuber as well. Really funny, really entertaining. Highly recommend if you're interested in the kind of content that I do as well. Okay, the pie is what? I like the way that they all package this differently. And you know what's fun about these O2A2GM games is because they're so short. Each one of these videos is about like 15 minutes long. Some are longer, some are shorter, but they're around there. Fantasy Finale like ran through for a good hour because he got every single ending without the guide. I'm very proud of you, Fantasy Finale. I'm proud of you, Ty. Because you know what, like these games are not that easy to get all of the endings without a guide. And you did it. You were determined to get those endings. Yes, you were. I loved it. But this is Lottie Star Shot. And definitely recommend this as a streamer to check out as well. Check out their channel. I think you'd really enjoy her. She's funny.
Different here is that we asked, how did she meet Colin?
We grew up together. He never paid attention to me at first. No one did.
Oh.
But I followed him everywhere.
She's like, oh. You know what? Lottie and I, we both are rocking the pink hair right now. I dig it. Pink.
Oh.
Even to college.
Oh, yeah. There's that big yandere-ness I was looking for. Yeah. So did Colin just begrudgingly stay with her?
I told everyone he was mine.
I really like that Lottie was trying to analyze the situation between Colin and Mara here. That's why I picked this clip, because Lottie was really thinking about like their previous relationship. What was that relationship like? How did they get married? Why did they get married? You know, was Colin actually in love with Mara, or was he capitulating? And I really liked that Lottie was kind of thinking on a deeper level here, which is why I picked this clip.
Until he finally fell for me. My sweet Colin. He'll always be with me.
The pie, isn't he? Yeah. She did not hold back at all either. So she is so much more far gone. Oh, bro. So he fell for you, or he was like, damn, I can't escape her. I might as well just stick with her. Did you threaten his loved ones or something?
See, she also clocked the pie. She's like, bro, Colin is inside of that pie. And I just love how she's like, you know, what was Colin thinking through all of this? You know, and from my point of view, I think that they were happy together at one point, you know, like, and I've played a lot of Yandere games, and there are Yanderes that I genuinely am like, oh, I love them. I love my Yanderes. You know, so like, what if Colin was like me, you know? What if Colin loves trash just like I do, or loved, you know? So maybe it wasn't like by force, but we do know that things did not end well for Colin. So, you know, what happened there, you know? And I love how Lottie is really thinking about that. Like, how were they together? What happened in the end? And then also reacting to, wow, Mara is far gone. Like, she was one of the few people to really kind of think about, to react to Mara's mental state rather than just it being a given that she's a yandere. But she really kind of dove into like of what that means for Mara to be a yandere, and I loved that.
Oh, wait, Mara sinks into her memories. Tears slowly trickle down her cheeks. She sobs quietly. She must feel so lonely. Girl, and what do? We hand her the box of tissues.
Okay, so that was fun. Nice job, Lottie. You're spot on with your thoughts on yanderes. Let's look at the next clip. Welcome from work, Milky. I'm so glad you're done with work now. We're looking at reactions from other streamers who have played this game. Okay, so here's the second spot from Lottie. Let's make it full screen.
It's a tooth. A human tooth. Oh god, she actually baked him. Holy shit.
So she had clocked it earlier, like, he's in that pie, isn't he? But then she was still kind of like shocked and surprised at the actual reveal. And I loved how she was like, it's so funny.
Was she gonna eat it? Colin. Let's not feel sick. Let's jump up and just mad dash to the door. I will tell, I promise. Do you want me to eat the whole thing? I'll eat it tooth and all.
She's like, I'll eat it. Don't be mad at me, Mara. Yeah, I'll eat it and I won't say nothing, you know? It's fine. Please don't hurt me. I don't want to get got. I love how people are like reacting to Mara being this monster right now, just this being scary. You know, Mara is dangerous. You know, she seems so sweet. You know, she seems so innocent. But the reality is Mara is dangerous. And to answer the question, is she going to eat him? Oh, she been eating him, girl. Yes. She been eating him, okay? Listen, earlier today we were talking about how Mara talks about Colin in the present tense. Part of that is because she has been consuming of his flesh. And to her, she's being with Colin forever by eating him, okay? That's why she baked him. And she did, yes, just on us. She went full Mrs. Lovett on us. Which I love. Yes, she did. We bake a pie. Eat the pretty little pie. Look at her eyes.
Damn, what do you mean? How I disappeared? Another unsolved mystery. The pie is a lie. Oh, I clocked that so easily. There's no shot. Oh, that was Colin's favorite. Girl. Oh,
you did
my
clock that.
God.
You totally clocked that.
I don't think she's really sorry about that mess if she just let me eat Colin Shepherd pot pie. Dear God. I enjoyed that one so much. Oh my gosh. Nice, short, and sweet. That one was so fun. Mara, she is so interesting to see that she's so broken up about Colin not being there when she's the one who killed him.
Yeah, see, that's another thing that that I wanted people to think about in this game with Mara is she's the murderer, she's the monster. But yeah, at the same time, she's genuinely crying over him. She genuinely misses him, you know, and whether it's regret or, you know, that she's alone now. Like, I think Mara's tears are real, you know, and I think she came across as genuine. Like I think she comes across as genuine tears. These are not crocodile tears. But how interesting it is that she feels this way, even though she was the one who killed him. You know, but then at the same time, she still doesn't see him as being totally gone. Like she's consuming of his flesh, you know, but yet she still recognizes that he's not really there anymore. So I like that Lottie kind of picked up on that.
Chopped him up and cooked him into a pie. She's grieving him in her own way, even though she's the cause of his death. I don't think I've seen that a lot with Yandere. It's usually the Yandere always wins and kidnaps or locks up their darling. True. Instead of them just outright killing them. So that is very different from what I'm used to, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I've never had shepherd pot pie before, but I guess adding Colin's meat maybe made it better? Question mark, who knows? But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one. I am looking forward to whatever Jitterrue releases for more visual novels.
All right, my next game is going to be Spooktober. So thank you, Lottie, for playing. And yeah, go check out Lottie's channel. She's a lot of fun. You'll like it. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, I have a couple of clips now from Fantasy Finale. So we're gonna play his. He is here, right here on Twitch.
You strike up a bit of small talk. How old is this picture of Colin? He looks so handsome.
Yes, Crumb. My Colin is handsome.
Ooh, she don't like that. She don't like when you compliment her man. She don't like that. You strike up a bit of small talk. How old?
She don't like that at all. She doesn't like it at all. I love how Ty over here. I love how Ty was really thinking about how Mara was reacting to Colin. Yeah, and as he says here in the chat, the tone shifted so quickly. Yeah, it really did. It was like, okay, you're going through everything so sad, and then you look at the picture and she's like, excuse me, you know? Like you're going after Colin, you know? Like, and in my head, I was like, what if she thinks that you're like the cheater, you know? Don't be looking at my man. Okay, I will fight you. You know, so she has that in her. And I just love how Ty really picked up on that. It was just like, whoa, 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 no. I'm definitely not the mistress. Just Donna said it was a bit of whiplash when I first picked that option, but in a good way. Good. At least it was good. It was in a good way. I love that. Oh my God, I love that. So yeah, good job. I'm gonna go to the next one. This ending was too hilarious, he says. One of the few endings, this one took me out. Okay.
Here for you. Alright, sadly play with the pie. You pause, then take your leave. No ending? Wait a minute. The ending is no ending?
It's no ending. That's the ending. The ending is no ending. Exactly.
I'm sorry, that one was funny. That one was funny. I'm sorry. Here for you. Alright, sad.
So I was like, no one's gonna get the no ending, you know? But actually some people did stumble upon it naturally. And then some people like worked to get it. And then it was like, surprise. I think the no ending is the hardest ending to get because you have to have like perfectly even points between the two routes. Remember I was talking about there's like there's the comfort Mara route and then there's the investigate Colin route. And if your points are even between those, you get no ending. The abruptness of it took you out. Yeah, it's like, it's done. You know, it's like, oh, it's over. I stand up and I left. We're done. I left. Your laughter is so infectious, Ty. The laughter gets me. Also, y'all seriously follow Ty's on YouTube and Twitch. We're looking at YouTube right now. Meeting canceled.